We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Boxing Ego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Jaron Boots, Ennis, Brian Norman. Is it a duck? A lot of people want to know, is it a duck? Welterweight division, there's only about a few key players left that are relevant, definitely to have titles in the welterweight division. So the topic of Boots and Brian Norman becomes a hot topic, like the store, right? And there was a brand new interview that kind of shook people up. Mill City Boxing did an interview with Brian Norman, and there's reports came out that Eddie Hearn reached out to the Normans again to facilitate a fight with Boots, a unification, yada, yada, yada. Now, I'm going to read the direct quotes, and then I'll give you my honest opinion, right? And what Brian Norman Sr. said is, quote, "You hear the dates," he said. October, November, December. You can negotiate a fight for those months in June. You could do that. June 19th is our fight. We can start negotiations the next week, right? They go on and say, I'm confused about Eddie Hearn putting this out here at this time. I don't know. He goes on to say that here it is, 4 weeks before our fight, the fight gets offered. We said yes. They said, okay, let's sign the contract. We said, no, why would we do that when we've got a fight locked in? That's a bad omen. You don't lock in fights when you've got a fight in front of you. That's the difference in the definition of looking past your opponent. What if we win against our opponent in Japan and Top Rank comes back and we get what we want, a co-promotion? We could do it at a better place for better money. The question is, are we willing to fight? The answer is heck yes. He's next. Boots didn't call us next. You can't find an interview where he says he wants to fight my son, basically. And then he says because he wants to muddy the water and tarnish our name as much as he can, this is why Eddie Hearn is doing that. Part of me thinks they're going to pull some BS and lock in another fight and say we weren't willing to fight, but we also said we were willing to fight, and we're saying it now, right? So I just went over exactly what was stated to summarize that without the quotes. Brian Norman is saying Eddie Hearn reached out to make a Boots fight. However, they have a scheduled fight overseas in Japan, and they want to honor and get through that beforehand, and then they said we can fight and we can negotiate for a Boots fight after that. Ego thoughts. I can't leave boxing alone. The game needs me. Listen, the game is watered down. I am what you can count on in this game for boxing knowledge. There's so many different opinions, but there's a lot of people not talking about a lot of low quality content. There's a lot of people that seem to already have their mind made up that this is a duck is a duck. Listen, if that's how you feel and it's a duck, then you don't even need to listen to what I'm going to say next because you've already figured it out. Congratulations. But my take is completely different. My thing is this. It's too early to say that this is a duck right here, right? I'm not talking about their last promotion where the 1.7 million and all that. That's in the past. They both went different ways. Brian Norman got a knockout sense and Boots got a knockout sense. So I'm talking about the current and moving forward. This has nothing to do with the first. And I think some people are looking at the first offer and they view that as a duck. So when they're not getting their way and getting this quote unquote commitment from the Normans, they're like, case closed, open and close case, Johnson. It's a duck. I mean, boxing is getting real lame, bro. Boxing is truly getting lame because we can't really classify that as a duck. Here's why. For one, we knew that Brian Norman was fighting this Japanese dude in Japan. Top Rank been talking about it. They have a date. They have the date set. They announced it. This was already done. This was done before Eddie Hearn got on wax and said we sent an offer in a new interview to Brian Norman. Look up the dates. Fact check it. Don't take my word for it, but check the dates. Again, I know I'm the man. I'm the best in the business, and it's not even close. I got the email from Top Rank, and it's dated Thursday, April 24th. And I think I knew about this before, but we'll use that particular date. I guarantee you, you are not going to find an Eddie Hearn interview saying we sent an offer for Jaron Ennis and Boots to fight Brian Norman that precedes this date. So again, why are so many people saying this instance is an absolute duck? You know what I mean? Like, if the glove don't fit, you must have quit. Come on, bro. And for me, I understand what the Normans are saying. This does seem like an Eddie Hearn tactic. So here's what's likely to happen. And if I'm wrong, I'll make an updated video. Boots' mandatory is Giasov. Giasov fought on Boots' undercard. They both picked up wins. They are going to fight each other. And now this is Eddie Hearn doing what he does as a promoter to justify when they announce Boots versus Giasov, his mandatory. There's going to be people who complain because Giasov is a good fighter, but he's not a big name. And they're probably going to have to put it on the East Coast, Philly, Atlantic City or something, right? Because that's the only place that can draw numbers to like Boots versus unknown. You got to put it close to his home. So it probably won't be in Vegas. It'll probably be on the East Coast, right? And then they'll be able to do interviews. This is the oldest trick in the book. I don't see how so many people don't see it. The oldest trick in the book. Eddie Hearn and Boots and them, they could do interviews and say, hey, we wanted Brian Norman unification, but he ducked me. You know what I mean? So we got to fight this guy. So now it becomes a great way to gain sympathy from boxing fans. Like, oh, Boots has to fight this guy. He's a mandatory. Plus, the Normans didn't want the fight. It's the oldest trick in the book, people. That's what I think is going on. And again, I can't fault Norman. I know it's not popular opinion because everyone else is saying he ducked. But how can we do that when Top Rank scheduled this fight, announced the fight way before Eddie Hearn even did an interview saying that we sent an offer? So basically, I have a press release. I showed it in this video, dated late April, right? So if I'm aware of this, Eddie Hearn is probably aware because Top Rank advertised this card. It's a pretty big card for them in Atta City General Gymnasium or whatever, right? And then you get to decide from that point, knowing that Brian Norman has a fight, let's draw up the play. I mean, it's the oldest trick in the book. I keep saying it. Might be willing to say it was a duck if Brian Norman didn't have a announced fight in Japan already scheduled. And then as far as that, I mean, a lot of you guys are idiots, bro. How many times have we seen where you try to go too many steps in advance and then it don't work out? They were saying all this stuff about Haney Garcia, Ryan rematch with Ryan. Ryan's going to rematch Devin Haney, right? They both look horrible. But even worse, Ryan actually lost. So Ryan loses the fight. Now it's in limbo. Do you put Ryan in the fight with Devin Haney after the Rolly fight? Do you put Haney in with Ryan after people saying he ran and didn't have fun with the fight? You see what I'm saying? This is what happens when you try to pre-book. Turkey keeps doing it. He did it with Wilder and AJ. Put them on the same card. They're supposed to fight each other. And then Wilder gets upset by Joseph Parker. Pulls Bacoli. He get knocked out by Joseph Parker, and so on and so forth. So realistically speaking, why would the Normans agree to this and sign over? You don't even know what type of performance they have. Like, first of all, they could lose, right? That's always something that could happen in boxing. So he won't even be a champion if they lose. And then you got to go that. So worst case scenario, if Brian Norman loses in Japan. But even if it's not a loss, what about an injury? What if you picked up an injury? Fans see, and that's what I'm saying. It becomes a catch-22 because guess what? If Brian Norman got a knockout, but he got a nasty cut, and then the cut needs time to heal, or he messed up his hand, then guess what? Fans are still going to say he ducked boots. Because if he comes out of the fight, if they sign right now before they get through their next opponent, pick up an injury, and then you have a signed contract to fight Boots in October, then guess what? Brian Norman, if he says, hey, I can't fight in October now, I got an injury in my last fight, then guess what? People are going to say, oh, you're ducking. So it doesn't make any sense to do this, what you guys are talking about, and actually, get the horse before the carriage. And it's sad because you got a lot of boxing fans. We live in this instant gratification society where TikTok and information and entertainment's at your fingertips with your phone. So people are looking for that. They want to put the cart before the horse. And when you don't, because right now you can go to any city, get on Yelp and find restaurants, find stuff to do, go on Instagram, and people start demanding that. And then they start implementing these instant gratification, lack of patience when it comes to boxing, and boxing doesn't work like that. Like I said, what if Brian Norman loses? What if he picks up an injury, right? What if he has such a sensational performance where his value goes up? You see what I'm saying? And then you've already committed, not knowing how you're going to look, good, bad, or indifferent. You've already committed and agreed to this money. Like, what if I went to Japan and, like, let's say I was Brian Norman, right? Or just use Brian Norman. It don't matter. Say Brian Norman, what if he went to Japan, got a first round knockout, and the Japanese fans loved him, and he became a bigger star or a big star over there. So now he has a whole different market. But if you've already signed and agreed prior to even going over there, you can't incorporate any of this newfound love. You see what I'm saying? Like, the dude that fought NOA, he's going to Japan, and he said they're treating him like a celebrity, the Cardenas dude or whatever, because he dropped NOA and put up a good fight. So you guys are idiots who keep saying it's a duck, it's a duck, it's a duck, because you're not getting your way or a fight you want to see. It don't make sense when you have a scheduled fight. Like I said, there's so many other fights where they do this and they try to map it out. Like even Canelo versus Crawford. They're like, oh, Canelo Crawford. Crawford's not even taking the fight, so he doesn't have a chance to not make it to the fight. But Canelo looked horrible versus Skull. So you're doing it backwards. You're doing the business wrong and doing it backwards by trying to sign with Eddie Hearn or sign this deal that Eddie Hearn's saying prior to knowing how you're going to look, good, bad, or ugly. Like, you know what I'm saying? It just doesn't make sense. So Turkey keeps doing it, like I said, and it hasn't been working. And he tried to do it. Remember, Ryan Garcia was initially supposed to fight Esau Pitbull Cruz, and guess what? Esau Pitbull Cruz said the same thing. He said, I'm not negotiating with Ryan. My mind's not on Ryan. I don't care. I'll fight Ryan, but I'm not fighting him, right? And I'm not going to fight him and agree to fight him and negotiate when I got a fight coming up. And guess what? Pitbull, it's not like he was scared of Ryan. He had a fight coming up. He had a fight of the year. He won the fight. So guess what? If Turkey didn't jump the gun and bring in Rolly, who would later upset Ryan, then guess what? They could have still got it rocking. You know what I mean? But Turkey, being impatient, like a lot of boxing fans, he just made a call and got Rolly instead of Pitbull, instead of just waiting. And that's what boxing fans are expecting everybody to do. So for me, I can't say this is Brian Norman ducking, you know what I mean? Because I don't know what's going to happen in his next scheduled fight. And Floyd did this to Canelo. But see, you guys don't have the knowledge that I have. That's why you're not able to think of these examples that I'm shooting off from the top of my dome because I'm the best in the business. Canelo wanted assurance that Floyd, if he beat Robert Guerrero, would fight him. Canelo was going to fight on Floyd's undercard with Austin Trout. Floyd says, no, I'm the A side. We'll do the business after. Let's both get past our next opponent. Canelo, being spoiled brat and thinking like he dictated terms, says, I can't get my way. I want off of this card. So if you notice, Showtime pulled Canelo off of the card, and he ended up fighting just before May, because Floyd fought on Robert Guerrero on Cinco de Mayo as his first fight with Showtime, first fight out of jail from the Cotto fight. And Canelo fought a couple weeks before that in April against Austin Trout. They both won, and guess what? They both fought in September. So guess what? The Normans are actually correct here. The correct way to handle business is to do what Pitbull Cruz did with Fierro and with Ryan Garcia. Yes, I get it. You're trying to dangle the carrot. Ryan's a good fight for me, but let me get past what I have on my plate, right? Same thing with Floyd and Canelo and all the examples that I gave here. And the Boots fans are starting to become real radical where they're saying everybody is ducking because they're not getting the fight that they want. And it becomes a scapegoat for Boots, Bozy, and Eddie Hearn. They could just say, oh, everyone's ducking me, so I have to fight these other guys. I have to fight David Avanesian and all that, right? They did it with Mario Barrios. But look how stupid you guys look there. You said Mario Barrios, and y'all said that Barrios was ducking Boots, if I'm not mistaken. Same thing you're saying to Norman. But guess what? Barrios is about to fight Manny Pacquiao on a card with Tim Tszyu and Fundora. You idiots. You sound stupid. How dumb can you be when Barrios is going to fight the only 8 division champion in boxing history, might I add? He's going to fight a legend. Who cares about a boot? Just from the business perspective, would you rather fight a Filipino legend like Pacquiao and make more money, or fight Boots because of extra belts and a lesser fight? You can say whatever you want there, but the same people who said Barrios is stupid and he's ducking Boots, guess what? He got a bigger fight than Boots will have in his next fight. So Barrios doesn't look so stupid now. PBC doesn't look so stupid now. And if Boots stayed with Espinoza, then he would be right there in the mix. The Barrios fight might have already come. Maybe he gets the Pacquiao fight. I don't know, because he ended up leaving, going to Eddie Hearn. So I have to clear the air because you guys are making boxing look stupid. There's a lot of people because it's all about instant gratification. I want this fight. If I can't get the fight, then I'm going to blame somebody. And you're not looking at the particulars, and you're not looking at the actual business of boxing and how we got here.